Okay, so we're going to do something slightly different, and I'm going to do a podcast in the car because we want to be efficient and productive. So today I want to talk about values. But before I talk about values, I want to talk about kind of self-management, how we believe in ourselves and how we can manage ourselves more productively. So one of the things that I often think about is how we judge ourselves. We tend to judge our weaknesses against other people's strengths, which is really unfair. When you make a mistake, there's no point of being harsh on yourself, right? If you think about it like a maze, I often think of workplaces like mazes. The maze is, going through and figuring out the journey is the exciting part. As soon as you land up and hit a dead end, you don't panic. You don't freak out. You don't say, oh, that's it, I'm giving up. You know that, okay, you use that information and you move to the next exit or entrance or wherever it is on the maze. And so eventually you kind of go around the different maze and you find your way out. And then that's the fun of it. That's the joy of it. And so part of growing in your role and kind of helping yourself is understanding that the journey is the way. As the Marcus Aurelius says, I believe, the obstacle is the way. And the second part I want to highlight here before I go into values is, the mountain. Often there's a lot of books out there that say the mountain is you kind of thing, where we sometimes see something in front of us as huge, ginormous, an obstacle that we can't climb over. But if you pretend that mountain is there and you run away from it and you kind of hide from it, you can't climb a mountain you can't see, right? So sometimes it's best to kind of deal with things front on, but step by step. And when I go through the values and what I mean by that, hopefully what I just said will make more sense. So to talk about values in organizations, they're the fancy stuff, right? We see them on walls. Oh, work together, egoless environment, timely and sensitive, or customer centricity, etc., etc. Now, the thing is, a lot of people don't take much notice of values. They just kind of move on and just say, whatever, right? This doesn't mean anything. It's just corporate mumbo jumbo or HR speak that doesn't make any sense. But I actually spent some time understanding why values are even defined in the first place and how do you hold yourself accountable. And so we have our own moral compass as human beings. We judge ourselves by what's good, what's right or wrong, what's good, bad. And we have our own kind of barometers or kind of thermometers that kind of help us understand, okay, we're going the right direction, wrong direction, we're going too much into being an optimistic or pessimistic, etc. Now in the workplace, we have a similar sort. I have my values, which are very simple. One, ruthless prioritization. So why do I have ruthless prioritization because I want to make sure that I prioritize things that are actually relevant. Now in your workplace, if you have a value like that, the way you can use it in your advantage is by talking about it, saying, as an organization, we value ruthless prioritization or relentless prioritization or, prioritize first kind of thing, whatever the value is that aligns with prioritization. And we want to prioritize what matters. When we're in a discussion with someone and they're talking about new ideas, and there's always that one person who has 100 ideas, right? To keep them on track, you have to say, hey, let's relentlessly prioritize, please, because I think this is important. Or if you want to disagree with someone, you can by saying stuff like, I like this idea, I like X about it, and I like Y about it. But if we were to focus on relentless prioritization, this probably wouldn't sit at the top. So let's get back to what we need to focus on first, and we can come back to this once we get to it, right? So relentless prioritization not only holds you accountable, making sure you make the right judgment calls and you focus on the right things, but it can also help others. And so when you see a value that focuses on priorities, you often, whatever. But actually, it's all down to you. When you make the most of the value, then, it will pay it back. The second value that I really kind of emphasize on is customer centricity. So customer centricity is essentially, who is the customer? The customer is you. the customer is your stakeholder. The customer is the actual person who's buying a product or service. But it's also, like I said, it's also you. So does this even make sense? Think about it from an ergonomic perspective. Does it make sense for the person who's buying it? Does it make sense for you who's selling it? Does it make sense for the stakeholders inside the organization who are managing the departments? Customer centricity is about not solving symptoms, but root causes, right? We sometimes get so much into analysis paralysis that we often don't focus on the right thing. So giving yourself a kind of North Star to say, what does the customer want? And in which case the customer is me, or in which case the customer is an actual person who's buying a product service, or the customer is a stakeholder, whatever it may be, you can then really hone in on them and their skills. And that also drives a discussion about the way you work. Hey, I need to relentlessly prioritize. Cool. How are the projects I'm working on? What is the most important thing I need to focus on? Well, I need to focus on customer centricity. What does that mean? That means I need to focus on what they actually need. What's their problem I'm solving, right? If it's a product or service, you've got lots of different products and services. Okay, but what does the customer actually need? Let's focus on that. So customer centricity is really kind of a honing mechanism to push you back into the focus. It's almost like when you got a camera and you got that DSLR and it goes out of focus, you press that button and it kind of refocuses. That's the same thing when it comes to saying customer centricity. And then my last one that I mainly talk about, but I have a bunch more, is data centricity. So data centricity is, for me, one of the most important ones, because it's all about understanding where does an idea come from, what's the backing of it. Now, it doesn't mean you have to have data for every decision. Sometimes you don't. You just won't have access to the data. It won't exist. That's also in itself data. We don't have it, therefore we need to get it. Or if you're A/B testing, if you're going to go with an idea, instead of just going with the idea, get the data first by A/B testing. So data centricity is about making sure you hold other people accountable and yourself. Before you go to someone and pitch a big idea, do you have the data on it? Is the idea data centric? Does it have proof? If not, then identify and talk about it openly. Say, this is not data centric. We need to collate the data first. If someone's coming to you, you can hold them accountable. Hey, by the way, data centricity, where is the data, right? Like what proves this thesis? If there isn't some, then fine. But if there are some, then great. Let's look at the data and make sure that it actually equates to the decision we're making. Should I mention the others? Okay, I can talk about some other ones as well, actually, because I think they're still relevant and I still use them, but not as frequently. So let me talk about one more, and that's about long-term orientation. And I think this is important, especially nowadays when everything is using AI, everything's fast, you can build new things. It's incredibly easy to build tools, websites, sheets, whatever it may be. So when you build stuff, you get excited. There's a level of endorphins that kick in. Sorry, I just put my foot down, so I just zoop. Camera is going all over the place. So when you're building stuff, you can get really sucked into this idea that let me build something new, let me build this, let me build that. But what about the long-term orientation? Does it make sense long-term? Is this something that is going to benefit not just you now, but also in the future? When you are working in a team, whatever you're building, is it just for your local team or is it for your global team? So long-term orientation is about making sure that there is some room for it to become a global support system, tool, whatever it may be, or there's some thinking about long-term facilitization of whatever it is you're providing or creating. For me, I could easily sit here and say, okay, let me create a tool, because I'm on social media so much, let me create a tool that just consolidates all my social media and I can design it the way I like. So yeah, I can spend ages doing that, or I can go online and search for a tool that already does it and maybe pay $20, save myself hours worth of work, and then as that tool upgrades itself through the company's upgrades and initiatives, I just benefit from it. But long term, if I build it myself, then I'm stuck with something that could get outdated really quickly. So long-term orientation is a powerful one. It's something that we will get into traps very quickly. And the purpose of me talking about all of these values are because I want people to start thinking about how they hold themselves accountable and others accountable in a fair and just way. Telling people they're wrong doesn't make any sense. You're not trying to prove you're right, ever. What you're trying to do is you're trying to ask yourself, what needs to be true for you to agree with me? And that sentence in itself only becomes true when you've got something to hone in on, a value or an idea that you can all validate together. So that's it. That's me done for today. This is the end of the podcast. I just wanted to quickly talk about that. Thank you for bearing with me while I'm driving. I am multitasking, so I hope you enjoyed this episode. And the next one will be back properly sitting down and I won't be distracted. And I am driving safely. I'm driving well within the speed limit. So see you all soon.